Devin Jangle did his Cummins swap. I watched his video series, and he had the 93 power steering pump. I don't know if that would work with mine, but he just took the Chevy fill body and bolted it up to the Cummins power steering pump, and then he deleted his vacuum. I think I'm just gonna try and use the Dodge setup for right now, unless I run into any problems. It's pretty late at night here, otherwise I'd take you out to the shed and show you the NV4500. I've got that all tore down. I've got $1,100 worth of parts from a 4x4 off-road coming. It was a, I purchased it from a junkyard out of a 6.5. It was a 94 NV4500 rebuilt. In the 94s, the Cummins bell housing won't bolt up to the NV4500 in GM years. Anything 95 and older, it won't work. They changed them. So I called up the guy at Quad 4x4, and I believe he's in Montana. And he sold me a new GM case, the newer style, for $306. I got the whole case, counter shaft, gears, PTO cover, even a rebuild manual, everything for $1,100. I kind of screwed myself there, $1,100 worth of parts, and then $750 for the rebuilt trans I got in the shed. I should have just bought a new trans. Being two-wheel drive would be easier to find, cheaper. But them NV4500s ain't cheap. Here's my dad's projects here, Trans Am. He's got his, he went to work with it. It's a 02 Ram Air Silver TA. That's the best one out of all of them. He's got projects here. This is a Firebird he's putting Trans Am body parts on. Got the torque thrust wheels on them. Damn Pontiacs. Worked on those too much. A little bit harder to work on than these Chevy full-size trucks. I'll stick with the Cummins. Yeah, I ordered the well, I've got to still order the intercooler. I'm probably just gonna get a used intercooler. That company in California on eBay has them for $550, but I'm not too leery on spending. I'm cheap. I need to go cheap now. I'm already way too much money into it. This Cummins, the engine, to rebuild the engine itself, it wasn't too bad. I've probably put $1,000 into the engine, and then I paid $1,000 for the engine. The trainees costed me more than the Cummins itself. And I was gonna rebuild the 6.5 with all the goodies, you know, the skank crank and or scat crank and the you know, the new heads and main studs and head studs, and fully rebuild that. But I put this Cummins on eBay, and surprisingly the bid only went up to $1,025, so I sure as hell wasn't gonna sell it for that. So I said screw it and parted out the 6.5. The bids on that went high fast on the block and the heads. So that's the route I was taking with that. The throttle cable fix kit that I got for $55 on eBay actually came with these new ends. I don't need them, but they came with new ends here. These new pieces. It came with the whole throttle and the connector. I might have to wire something up to use on the Cummins, because I don't think that throttle cable of the Dodge is going to reach the pedal for the Chevy. And it's plugged in. The throttle cable goes from here's the Chevy throttle cable. I cut it, and it goes up here into this cruise control box, whatever the hell it is. Yeah, cruise control box. It goes into there. But it might work. It might be long enough. I haven't checked. I'm just worried about getting the Cummins in first. That's the big goal. Making the motor mounts. Stuffing the Cummins in there. I'm waiting on the tranny parts to rebuild the tranny first, and then I'll put them in as one unit. And then fab up my motor mounts. Get everything level and get that in there first. This truck's been painted before, you can tell. Somebody only sanded the outside and there's primer there. Sorry for the low quality, it's on my phone here. This is my first video, so I'm not too skilled with a video camera. I've got a new headlight switch in the shed that I pulled off my other truck. I'll put on here. I had a 94 GMC 3/4 ton 8-lug extended cam long box with 260,000 miles on it. Stock engine trans, ran like a top, tons of power. Never had any issues whatsoever except lift pump and oil pressure gauge. The sending unit would cause the lift pump to fail after it was running. And those were the only two fixes that I had to do, and then the headlight switch on that truck. I mean, it was a good running truck. People can say what they want about the 6.5s, but they ain't too bad. But then again, I wasn't hauling no 10,000-20,000 pounds with it either. It was a good running engine, good running transmission. Never gave me any issues, but I fell asleep at the wheel at 5 o'clock in the morning like a dumbass. I hit a tree, buckled the whole truck, shoved the front end into the engine, busted the transfer case, everything. And there was no way in hell I was getting that motor out unless I was going to take the whole front clip off, and I just said screw it. After all that work, if I get in there and hitting the tree cracked the block or something, because the fan was all bent back and everything, it was toast. I just said kind of screw it, and I took my new tires off that I had on it, and I took some odds and ends off, and the gauge cluster and the intake piece, and I took some odds and ends off that I wanted out of it, and the PMD. The guy before me bought a SS Diesel Supply heat sink, and he had it mounted in the grill, and I took that off, and the PMD, he had an extra PMD with it, and I think I got like $126 just out of that, my tires and everything, so, and some odds and ends that I sold off of it, so, and then I got, I think, $700 for it at the junkyard is all, for the whole truck. Yeah, this is just a power torque cheap flywheel. Not really cheap. I paid about $500 for this flywheel and clutch kit. I got some assortment of bolts and shit here, and throw out bearing down there. I got and this Cummins cam bearing that they had sent me, for some reason, was not the right size. It just would not go in. But they had also sent me a Victor Rines cam bearing, or sorry, not Victor Rines, I make gaskets, a Molly Cleveite cam bearing, and that one went right in. I tapped it right in using I used a wheel bearing, or not a wheel bearing, sorry, just a regular bearing that I had laying around, looked like a crank bearing from a 3-wheeler or something. I just put that on the end of it, and I took my cam bearing and I hit that, and it tapped right in. Worked perfect. I got the shitty headlights over here, and I got some mess over here too from sanding, working on the truck and doing the body work. I got that front clip off today. I'm going to use the Chevy radiator with the Dodge intercooler, deleting the AC, so that'll be out of there. I running a manual, so I don't need that tranny intercooler in there. I took that out. I took the oil cooler out because Cummins is an internal oil cooler. So the only thing I have to run up there is the Chevy radiator, the Dodge intercooler, and the power steering cooler. So there should be a decent amount of room up here in this front clip when I get it back on. I got that out in the shed right now with all the other mess. It's kind of dark out there. Well, I can show you guys if I got enough time left here on this here video camera. Alright, let me turn the light on here. Sorry about the door making a noise there. It's kind of shitty lighting in here, but here's my grill, Chevy grill. I'm gonna go ahead and get a new one because it's starting to peel. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a drive shaft. There's a Chevy radiator I'm gonna run. There's my front clip. That's a gauge cluster I pulled out of my 6.5 truck that I totaled. Here's the top cover of the NV4500. I've got here's the GM input shaft, itty bitty one. I've got the upgraded Dodge Cummins input shaft here with the new bearing retainer, brand new. Bought it on eBay, both of them for like $100. I've got the NV4500 here. Turns real nice. Sorry about the lighting. Here's the 6.5 pistons. There's the 6.5 block. Can't really see it. The lighting's horrible in here. I've got this block being shipped out tomorrow. I have to ship it out. I sold this block for $400. I've got all this 6.5 bullshit here. The rockers, injection lines. I've got everything here. The 6.5 camshaft, oil pump, main caps. I gotta put them back on for the block for the guy. Flex plate, oil pan. I got the highly seeked DB2 injection pump. I sold that. That only went for $130, surprisingly. But yeah. I'll keep you guys informed. Hopefully I have some better days here with the video. I sold these heads as well. The 6.5 heads. You can't see them really. Those are crack free. You can see the outline of them, but I can't see them on my video because it's so damn dark in here. I sold those heads for $302.50. I've got a crank over there too, a good